Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. This is part one, or episode one, of the comics exclusive series that we are doing. If you did not catch yesterday's episode, where we are now splitting up because the podcast was 2 hours, and that's too long. Probably because we do stupid bits like this. Anyway, the way it's going to work from now on, just in case you didn't catch that, it's going to be split up into three distinct segments of Cup and Joe. You're still getting the same amount of content. In fact, you might even be getting a little more with each episode. But same amount of content. The way it's going to work: Tuesdays we upload our movie discussions. Wednesdays we upload comic reviews and discussions, and then Thursdays we will upload the anime reviews and discussions and that sort of a thing. So stay around for that tomorrow, or whenever you're listening to this, you can just go and check the channel and see if it's there. That sort of a thing. I'm future-proofing this, Joe. Anyway, I didn't finish the intro. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
Guys, I gotta be honest, that was water, but the reason it was water is because you know, I, I'm used to having the coffee all set up for the one-time slurp at the beginning. I did not think that I was gonna have to do multiple slurps tonight because that
Yeah,
coffee's gone in the first 5 minutes. Let me tell you. So, I hope you got your slurpage filled, if that makes sense.
it was a much more metallic slurpage, but I think that'll throwing in some variation might actually help. Also, it just shows that we record all these one after another. Very nice. All right, so today we are discussing comics, as you saw in the title. There are going to be 4 books. Hold that thought, I need to cough. Okay, we're back. For 4 books that we're going to be talking about today. All future state titles. It's going to be the next Batman. That's going to be number 2. Issue number 2, not number 2 discussing. The first book we're discussing is next Batman issue. You get it, you get it. Then Nightwing number 1, then The Immortal Wonder Woman number 1, and then followed swiftly by Teen Titans number 1, which we wanted to cover last week, but again, there was a debacle. Go back to episode 13 or whatever the hell it was where we discussed
Continuity.
that. Exactly. Yeah. Alrighty. So Joe, you were the one that read us like you read to me like a bedtime story. Next Batman. Tell us a little bit about that, would you?
It was fine. like I like it really was like, okay, this is like the first one. I was like, oh, this might be interesting, but this second one was just it wasn't bad. It was fine. The art was good. I really liked the art. It's got some good colors, but yeah, the actual story, like, I'm not that intrigued, or at least it wasn't even that much of a continuation. The first story in the first story wasn't really much of one. It's more they spent so much time world building about this magistrate, and I'm like, you are going to get nowhere in these 4 issues. Like we're gonna right when things start like picking up, it's just okay. Series ended, and I don't know. Like it's very strange, and they do the whole reveal of Jace, Jace Fox ending up being the next Batman, and yeah, like we talked about next last week, they don't even make it a big deal. It's not like he gets a full splash page where he's taken the cowl off. What were you gonna say?
Oh, just remember to be close to the mic, Joe.
Oh,
Put your
I'm
lips on
sorry.
the mic.
I'm sorry.
The technical aspects.
I get a little heated.
I can tell
I get warm.
under the collar.
Oh, okay, okay. Back to what we need to do. Chase Fox. Yeah, what the heck? They don't even make a big deal about it. Like, what the fuck? Come on, at least put some damn effort into it. Like, it was the most like anticlimactic. It was like, oh wait, you didn't know this already? Okay, who cares? And you had mentioned that they were already like, I don't know, publicizing it and making it pop, and just like, oh, cat's out of the bag. Like they don't care.
Yeah, DC was just like, oh, here's the guy.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah, just the art was good, story was fine, and the main thing that kind of I spent the most time thinking about was the bat suit. because you get a very clear the first time, I guess, in the series, because in the first book you don't get a good look of what the bat suit looks like, but in the second one you get a full like bright look at what the bat suit looks like. And Joe, I'm gonna show you via Discord what it
All right,
looks
I'm gonna describe. Excuse me, this to everyone. I'm burping and coughing all over the. Okay, so it is. Yeah, it's just like a more armorized version of the batsuit, but it's got like weird. It's like patches of gray and patches of black everywhere, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I don't know what to call it. It's just weird.
yeah, it's
It's
not
very
bad.
disjointed.
It's not bad at all, but I don't know.
It
I'm a fan of the long cape. Um, I think that's really cool. I like that as an aspect. But yeah, it's I don't have a decision on it.
it seems like a half baked concept suit, or like it was supposed to be like an Earth 2 like design. It just seems like it's something that's kind of like almost good, but it's not. It needed a few more, minutes in the oven, a few more tries, that sort of a thing. It's close, but it's not really anything like visually spectacular.
They played it safe. They didn't want to do anything new and try and be experimental, or we're being risky with this, or okay, we'll do a retro design or something like that. It was very much like make it a little grayer.
Make it a little grayer, make some more black splotches here on the shoulders, and then here on the inner thigh, and then here on the obliques. That's the side of the body for all those laymen's out there. Is it cool if I insult the listeners?
I think that's what you're supposed to do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's weird. What was the
Oh
secondary
boy.
story? Like, do you care about the
Oh
secondary
god.
stories in the back?
Oh
Or
god, Joe. You know that I was somewhat looking forward to the secondaries. Well, what were the secondary stories in the first one?
it
Just
was
because.
the katana thing
Yes,
and the Arkham Knights.
yes, very interesting. I like the art. Joe, these two are terrible. It's literally, and I think they're both longer than the actual Batman story. So the first one
No.
is Batgirls, and art is fine in this, and it's about two of the Batgirls who play the Batgirls. I don't know that much about Batman lore, but it's this one blonde chick with like emo hair over her eye, and this
Oh,
other. Let me see if I could find
it's
her.
not
Oh,
like, or is
Cass.
one of them Barbara?
No, Barbara is in this story. I don't. Joe, just ridiculous. Barbara's like in an underground bunker, and they're like using her power, or they're like taking something from her. I have no clue.
They're
It's
taking something from Barbara?
let me bring this up real quickly. If I could
I am very
skim
intrigued by.
through these like 20 pages that are just terrible. Oh yeah, she's like,
I love listening
oh
to you
oh
bash this.
yeah,
Oh,
Joe.
okay.
Wait till you see this.
Okay.
What
I will
the
describe this
fuck?
yet again. Uh,
And that's
so
Barbara Gordon.
it looks like Barbara Gordon is strapped down to like an operating table of some sort, and then it looks like a bunch of Doc Ock arms are coming out of it. And that's I don't know what's going on there. Um, Intriguing, and by that I mean not intriguing at all. I don't care. Hence why I didn't buy the book. Ooh.
Yeah, it's this is stupid. Yeah, the one girl's name is Cass. There's the they talk about the Oracle. Um,
Oracle is Barbara Gordon. That's Barbara Gordon became Oracle after she was
okay.
shot by the Joker in Killing Joke. So that is make that make the sense, dude. It's making the sense. Um, yeah, I don't know. I haven't read it, but it doesn't sound intriguing to me at all. It doesn't
Oh,
help that I don't really care about Batgirl, but or like any of the Batgirls other than Barbara. But
but Joe, it gets better. And by better, I mean
oh boy,
so much worse.
yes,
And the last story is Gotham City Sirens.
ooh baby.
What the fuck?
Did you know about Gotham City Sirens before reading that?
I had heard the name and I'm like, wait, is that like Catwoman and like some of the other
Okay,
ones?
so you did know of it before
Yeah,
going into this.
yeah.
Good. Okay.
But the story, it's the 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 art, not good, not good, Joe, not good. Catwoman, I, I mean, she kind of looking sexy, but like this literally looks like it's really weird because it looks like children's art. Like this looks like a young adult like children's book, but they're like, it's really creepy. Like, uh, I, Ivy like looks just it's so confusing. Like I do not know what they were trying to do. It's just a mishmash of this pointless story that teaches you nothing about the actual world. Like the new future state world tells you nothing about the magistrate. The art is not good. It is a stupid girls' night out story. I it's terrible. I have nothing else to say.
Okay.
I wish I never read this.
Will you be
I just
picking up?
chucked the book.
Oh my god. I noticed when you were showing me the art, you were folding it like in half, like
Oh,
the
because I just
opposite
don't
way.
care.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of cringed at that, but I was also like, it's not that important.
Now,
So
if I
will you
did
be
that with
picking up?
records, there would be a problem. Like it's weird. The way I handle my records are very like, and that's the way you handle comics.
Right, but it's
But
only
the way
comics
I
that I
handle
care about.
comics, like when you let me read when we were reading Dark Multiverse, and you're like, Joe, can you not like, just like curl it? I'm like, oh shit, my bad. I forgot about that. This isn't my book.
Oh yeah, like you were like curling like the cover in a little bit, and I was like, maybe,
Don't do
maybe
that.
don't do that. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Will you be picking up issue 3 and issue 4?
Uh, well, I'm already this far ahead. I'm halfway through.
Exactly.
But like, holy crap! Like, it was. There's nothing special. There's literally. I feel like I've learned nothing. I've gotten nothing out of these. But the only thing that I enjoyed were the two side stories with Katana and the Arkham Knights from the first one, and I
Which
was
I
looking for
believe those are returning in
three.
the third. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's like
and
it
then
alternates, right? Yeah.
yeah, and then four we'll get more of the Gotham City Sirens. Woohoo!
Oh yeah.
But now that that bullshit's out of the way, let's talk about some fucking Nightwing.
Oh yes. From the way you say that, I imagine you had a very similar reaction to this book that I did, and that is, I fucking loved this book.
Hell fucking yeah! I read this second after the Batman one, and I was like, this is how you fucking do it. I'm like, this is some cool shit. Short and to the point as well. No bullshit story in this, and yeah, it's short and to the fucking point. I love it. Love it.
It's great. And little tidbit, like when you open it up, it is just a couple of establishing. It's a big establishing shot of like city sky. I can't.
Skate.
Why do I have a
Skate
stroke
board.
once per episode?
A skate.
It is a
the
big.
animal.
It is a big skateboard. No, it's just a cityscape, and you can see all the skyscrapers and everything, and the colors. Ooh, I was like, why are these colors are so good, Joe? The colorist on this book is, and let me see if I can pronounce his name correctly. Placiencia.
Placencia.
Placencia.
Placenta.
It's that's what kind of trips me up because like the science part of my brain, I'm assuming like you, it's just sort of like placenta. No, placencia. This is the colorist that Greg Capullo has. So, like those books, it's the same colorist, and I can tell because this guy loves his neon pinks and blues and stuff like that, and I'm like, ooh, that looks so good. And you can see it in the first page, like the skyscrapers lit up with the pink and everything, a little bit of orange in the foreground, and then like it's a nice little taster for what you then turn into, which is my favorite page I think out of any of these books that we've read this week, where it's a big double page spread of Nightwing just leaping off of a building, like doing a backflip off of a building over the skyscrapers, and it's just camera looking down on him and the city of Gotham, and I'm just like, holy shit, this book is beautiful.
It's a Ghost in the Shell reference, or it's
Oh, 100%.
and I love it. it's such a cool entrance, and having the huge wanted signs of him, like the security or the
Hmm.
surveillance ships going around looking. You can tell that they're looking for something or someone. It, it's awesome. I love it.
It's very good, and like I don't even want to talk about plot too much. I just want to like gush about. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I do want to talk about, but it's like you should go read this book. Whoever you are, go experience this book. It's great. But so to tie it in, because all the Bat characters, obviously all the Bat books kind of tied together. Everyone in
Hmm.
Gotham City is facing off against the Magistrate. They've outlawed masks and all that stuff. So uh, Nightwing is currently saving what he believes to be two civilians from, I don't even know, are those like droids of the Magistrate, like those
Yes.
robot guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Magistrate dudes, and he goes and he saves them. But they're like, you can tell from the monologue or whatever, Bubbles, one, they're working for the Magistrate. It's a ploy to try and capture Nightwing. They're luring him in, and I love it. The guy like extends his hand and he's like, "Oh my god, like everyone says that you're bad guys, but I think you're great." And he puts his hand out to shake it, and then the next panel, he just gets smacked in the face with the eskrima stick that Nightwing has, and Nightwing just like tears this guy down. He's just like, your body language is wrong. It's like you're not scared. You look like you're ready to pounce, and the dude's just like, well, the jig is up, and he goes and he attacks Nightwing.
Joe, what do you think of the Nightwing design?
I don't love it. It's bulky, and I like my Nightwing looking super sleek. Um, I don't like the chin strap. I don't like the
Oh,
straps
I
in
was
general.
about to ask you that. I'm like, Joe, how do you feel about this chin strap? Because I think it looks stupid.
Yeah, it looks pretty dumb. If the art was worse, I would say this looks terrible. But the artist is pretty good. Like, he's not
Hmm.
godlike, but the artist is, I'd say, pretty competent. He's pretty good with what he's doing. I really love the hands, like how the knuckles, like they don't look like
Yes.
gauntlets, but they look armored.
Hmm.
And then everything else, like it's a little bulky in some places, but it's still relatively streamlined, and it looks more, I guess, tactical, which is what I'm assuming they're going for all the Bat books. Like next Batman looks far more tactical. Um, whatchamacallit, Dark Detective Bruce Wayne in his like ballistic vest sort of a thing,
Hmm.
way
Hmm.
more tactical. This Nightwing looks more tactical, so I can see what they're doing. It's a very like guerrilla warfare esque kind of style they're going for with all these characters redesigns. So I'm okay with it, even if I don't love it. Like I much prefer just a regular, spandex Nightwing costume sort of a thing.
So I
Um,
I have a question.
okay,
So after the page where he breaks the dude's femur bone,
yeah,
on that next page when it goes to like you see what Peacekeeper number one looks like without his mask on and everything. And
yes,
he kind of reminds me of the head military dude from Akira, actually, with his with the getup and like the mohawk and just like his build.
oh
But
yeah,
I think it's a little weird how on the left page you just have this blank white square in the top right corner.
yeah.
I just remember I turned the page and I was like, "Is that a misprint?" Like I don't know if it probably was like a stylistic choice, but I think it looks dumb.
Yeah, it's not a misprint. It's just like they didn't have enough panels to fill up that thing. Like it was probably just poor planning or whatever because it's just a big white space. Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. It's not the greatest thing, obviously, but I can look past it. I'm like, I don't care too much. But also that same page, the magistrate's building. Tell me you did not think of Blade Runner when you saw that.
Everything reminds me of Blade Runner.
Everything, everything reminds me of Blade Runner. The how you saw Akira military guy from this guy.
Hmm.
When I saw this guy, there is a stint in Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Batman run where Bruce Wayne stops being Batman, like he loses his memory or whatever, and Jim Gordon takes on the Batman role.
Mm.
And he shaves the mustache, gets the head shaved down into that sort of mohawk kind of deal.
Mm.
Um, and he becomes the Batman kind of protector for Gotham City. I thought for a second that this was James Gordon because he looks like just a way more beefed up version of him,
Yeah.
but obviously it's not. He's holding a plaque that says Commissioner Montoya, so I don't even know. Is Gordon must be dead then, right? Because he would be commissioner, and then Montoya would take his place if he died.
Yeah, I guess. I'm trying to remember if Gordon's been mentioned at all in any of the other Batman books. I
He
don't think
might
so.
have
There might have
in
been
the
one
in the
mention.
yeah, in the regular Batman series, he might have left or died. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've read Tynan's Batman run, but I'm pretty sure there was something where there was something to going on with the police, but whatever. It's not that important. I just thought that was a cool little tidbit going on. Moving on to where Nightwing is staying, he's just kind of staying like the ruins of Arkham Asylum, which I think is
Pretty
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also it raises some. Do the Arkham Knights work out of the asylum?
Um, actually, when I read these comics, I also reread all the comics I have at the apartment.
Okay,
So I reread that one, and I completely forgot to mention that they live at Wayne Manor, or formerly Wayne
okay,
Manor, which is
gotcha.
funny.
Yeah, that's fine. That's funny. Um, yeah, so like, it's cool that he lives there. I like that he's kind of made that into his own little bat cave. Um, and so obviously they all kind of think, and by all I mean like the Bat family characters, they think Batman's dead, or at the very least MIA and hasn't returned for at least 2 years. I believe is the time scale they've given. And so Nightwing is kind of sort of taken on the Batman persona, like bit by bit. He's getting darker and more violent in his actions, which is sad because I really like lighthearted Dick Grayson. Like he's one of my favorite characters in all of DC Comics, and I love the moment where he's talking with Barbara. Um, here's the exact line. I've got the comic open in front of me, and so Nightwing is saying to her, "But I've heard. I'll look into it personally. Thank you, Batgirl." And then he pauses, and then he says, in a much quieter voice, you can tell because the letters are smaller, "Babs, thanks." And I'm just like, that's cool. And it's like it's showing his face, and he's kind of like, it's a nice little smile that he's
He
giving
looks
to
so
her.
sincere in it.
Yeah, yes. And I'm like, thank you. Like this writer didn't, no pun intended, actually, yeah, full pun intended, dick over dick. They were just like, Nightwing is a good guy. He's in a real tough situation. He's trying the best that he can, and he's, it's getting to him a little bit, but he realizes it, and he steps back and he's like, okay, thank you, Barbara. I didn't mean to go full Batman on you. I'm trying my best here. And then he goes and he takes a nice little shower,
Let's talk
and
about
then
naked dick. A naked, bearskin dick.
phrasing.
Steamy, wet
Oh
dick.
no, Joe,
It looks
that's the
good.
YouTube algorithm knocking on our door.
No, I thought
He
I
does.
thought this
He is
page is pretty cool.
fit. It is. It's very good. It's good because you kind of see him, and like he's obviously drawn very, uh, idealized. It's like every muscle in the side of his body is ripped as hell, which makes sense because he's the acrobat and that's how his body would be. And then you have the 9 panel grid of him fighting against someone who you don't know who it is, and it's them trading punches. And then you realize after the intruder to Dick Grayson's home is throwing him on the ground, and you're like, he's like, I'm Batman, and you're like, oh, it's the next Batman. They're tying it together. Cool.
Well, he says
Um,
people call me Batman, and I think that's supposed to be a
right.
thing where he's like, he probably realizes like, oh man, this is like Nightwing. Like I should be kind of like respectful, because
Right. But
even
at the
this,
same time, you're wearing the fucking bat
yeah.
suit.
But also he in the first, this is a he said this in the first book. He said something along, Jace as the next Batman. He said something along the lines of like, I don't get how the real Batman w- uh, could do this or something like that. And then in the book, he's like, actually, check that. I am the real Batman. And
Exactly.
I think that's some of that, you know, iffiness being portrayed right here. Like, he doesn't fully own, like, I'm the Batman. He's like, well, people call me the Batman. And it's like, you just need to own it, dude.
Yeah, no, I think it might be the fact that because again, the timeline for Future State is like all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like books are coming out that are taking place like hundreds, if not thousands, of years in the future compared to other books at this that are coming out in the same week. So it's really weird. Um, but also, I wouldn't be surprised if this was more so just um, writers not really, writers don't have to talk to each other about every little detail when they're doing books that take place in the same universe. Obviously, look at all the problems with continuity just in general. um, but the way that he's written in this book, it makes me feel like the right who wrote, hang on real quick, Constant. What's this guy? I need to find this guy's actual, hang on. Andrew Constant was the writer of this book. And Nicholas Scott did the was the artist. So we can give props to him for art as well. But so for Constant, I would say he seems to have more. I don't know if it's more respect for older Batman or like just the Bat family in general, or if the writer of the next Batman is just like, screw that, this is Batman for the time being. I don't know what it is, but it definitely seems like there's a bit of like a disconnect there. That or it's timeline crap or whatever. But it's cool because next Batman comes in. You think he wipes the floor with Dick, and then Dick is like, "Haha, hey, Arkham, welcome guest, maximum voltage," and then he just shocks the shit out of the next Batman. And then he detains him, blah blah blah, and then they talk for a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, we should," or I. The next Batman says to Dick, he's like, "I kind of need your help. I want your help in this case or whatever." And Dick's like, "Okay, I think I can help with that." And then he gets followed by, or the alarms go off because the magistrate followed him back to his base. And at first, you're kind of just like, at first, at least I was like, I feel like Dick would be smarter than that. And then the last page reveal is like, no, I know they tagged me and they followed me because I'm tired of running. I am going to end this now. And I'm like, fucking Aaron Yeager and Dick Grayson are one and the same, baby.
Bro, I thought the same thing. And, like, the way, literally, these are my notes for it. Like, this, out of the three, let me emphasize this. Out of the three books that we bought that came out last week, this is my favorite.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
I said the art is great, story is simple and to the point. I like Nightwing's character, and having the next Batman in it is a cool tie-in. Clean off your hands. It's a good time.
Yeah, I think perfect place to end it because we've already been talking about this book for way too long. It's good. It's again straight to the point. Pick it up. Best Bat book coming out. It's tied with Dark Detective, I'd say, for right now.
I agree.
Yeah, tied with Dark Detective. It's really good. Go check it out. All right, next book up on the docket: Immortal Wonder Woman. This book is weird. I'm I don't
Yeah.
really know how to feel about it right now.
So with the first story, I really like the art in the first story. I like that style a lot.
It
Um,
is it I want to love it, but there are some things in it like anatomy. It has that Green Lantern squash body feeling
a little
where
bit, yeah.
everyone looks a little
And it's a little
squished.
glossy.
Yeah. But the background, oh my god, the settings and the
Ooh,
backgrounds of this book,
yes.
second to none. The art here, I'm on the page right now. Who's the artist is Jen Bartel. Oh my god. You can draw a magical forest like you cannot believe. And the colors, is there a colorist or is it just one artist? I believe it's just her. Yeah, Jen Bartel is just on everything. And props to her for most of this. It's incredible. The colors, the way that you draw backgrounds, like the Batcave in the beginning, the space scenes, because Darkseid's in this. Whoa, who the fuck called that? Swamp Thing in a tree on Themyscira. That's really cool, and it looks great. The people. I think the facial expressions are really cool. Again, I think the bodies are just a little skewed too tiny. It's weird.
Hmm. I can roll with that. Um, yeah, I think the first story is good. I'm a little confused. Like there's like the whole swamp thing as a tree is kind of weird. Why Dark Side is coming and just all the fact that it sounds like Earth is completely destroyed and now they inhabited Earth. I'm like, okay, maybe this is stuff that I just didn't read. And
Joe, real quick, it takes place. I looked it up on the timeline.
okay,
Immortal Wonder Woman takes place like 1,000 years in the future of like most of the books that we're reading. So that should help explain to you why you don't know what's going on, because no one knows what's going on.
okay, good. I wasn't sure if it was one of those things where no one knew, and also Superman's in this.
Yeah,
Like
he just kind of pops in.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I'm like, okay, I enjoyed reading it. I was confused. The art's cool. That's my main thing about the first story.
Yeah,
Those are my thoughts. I have nothing else really to say.
yeah. So again, art really good, except for anatomy is a little bit wonky. But other than that, I mean, even if you get it just to look at the background stuff and the coloring, good God, it's immaculate. Um, So then moving on, because this was, of course, a double feature about a Bing Bada Boom, you get Nubia in the back of this one. And
Oh
how did you
yeah.
feel about this one?
Um, I said the second story is interesting. The art for me is a big toss up. Um, and I think Nubia is a cool character, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I would say the book is sort of like it starts off like you're in the middle of a heist with Grail, of all people. Grail was someone in Grail is like the daughter of Darkseid, invented during the Darkseid War, Joe. Back when remember when Batman first found out they were three Jokers in 2016, like 4 years ago,
5 years now.
5 years ago? Yeah. Oh my God, Jesus. That's when Grail was invented, like in that sort of thing. So like I believe she's been used in Wonder Woman books before, like after that. Um, and then she shows up in this and fights Nubia. And I like Nubia. I think she's really cool.
Hmm.
Um, I like the weird. I think it's a little weird, but that's just because it doesn't feel quite earned to me yet because I don't know this character. Where there's just a full page splash of her and her awesome hair, and then she just goes, "And I am Wonder Woman," and you're like 2 pages into the book, and I'm just like, that kind of feels like after you've had a big battle and you've been like hit down for a while in the book where people are like, you're not the real Wonder Woman, like the real Wonder Woman would have stopped me or whatever, and then she's had it enough and she like beats down the villain and and then after defeating the villain she's like, and I am Wonder Woman. It's like
Yeah.
that's where that feels like it belongs. It's just like the opening of the book where it's like, I am Wonder Woman. It's like, hey reader, I am Wonder Woman, get the fuck over it.
It's
And
kind
you're
of
just
close
like,
to being like I'm Captain Marvel. I'm the strongest Avenger. Deal with it.
yeah,
It's not
exactly. It's
that
like that
bad,
friend,
but
the friend who comes in and they're just sort of like, hey, I'm the best friend of your best friend now, and you can't do anything about it.
yeah, I understand what you're saying. When I did see that, I was expecting a little like maybe like a flashback or something. Like, oh, like maybe we get a little bit of like an origin or something like that, or I don't know, just a little bit of support for that claim. But we didn't.
Yeah, no, you don't. Because you've got like 2 issues. You got a real snappy. But everything after the initial fight, when you go to the Ebony Web and you meet her aunt, I think all that stuff is awesome. It's some pretty cool world building. I love the fantasy stuff. And like the backstory of like splitting the one thing into a bunch of things, and now you
What
gotta
about
go
art?
protect the. Oh, I think the art is good. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad by any means. I'd say it's good. It's consistent. Like if the
Hmm.
style kind of like wish washed around, I'd say it'd be like more of like a fine to bad. But it's it's its own style and it's consistent throughout. I think it's pretty good. Um, so I am honestly, I think I might be more interested in Nubia's story than Immortal Wonder Woman's story, even if I like Immortal Wonder Woman's art a little bit better. Um, but yeah, anything else to say about Immortal Wonder Woman?
I was happy with it. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, same here. Pretty good. If you're a Wonder Woman fan, I'd say pick this up. I'd say Wonder Woman is getting like the best treatment out of this Future State stuff so far. So all the Wonder Woman titles, pick those up. They're really good. Okay, and now, oh boy, for the main event. We couldn't talk about it last week because Joe didn't have his copy, but it's okay. I got him the copy. We're all good now.
And
We got Wawa.
and chips. It was lovely.
It was a nice little car date. Yeah, and I gave him his copy of Teen Titans Future State Numero Uno. So, Joe, I know you've been anticipating this for a long time, talking about it, so please tell me, what did you think of this book?
It's amazing. I thought it was amazing. My hands were shaking, Joe, and I shit you not, they were actually shaking. Like I was having a hard time holding the book, and I like made sure I had like a 3-hour window so I could just sit down and just take it all in. And
Just for this issue, 3 hours.
yeah, I mean it didn't take me the full 3 hours, but like
Okay.
I made sure that if I needed the time, I was gonna take it.
I am locked in the bathroom. There are 7 locks on the door. I have soundproofing all over me. I'm in a deprivation tank. No one is interrupting my enjoyment of this book.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna be excited, but once I actually held it and I opened it, like I said, hands were shaking, and I think it's awesome. I think the art, I love the art. I really, really like the art.
Rafa Sandoval, man, he is incredible. It's the Trinity. You got Sandoval on pencils. Tarragona is the inker, and then you have Alejandro Sanchez is the colorist. They're the guys on the Green Lantern book that I mentioned last week. Not the bad one, like the good books that I have. Not the Future State one. Not that poo poo pee pee shit. Exactly. Good. They're good. It's really fucking good art.
This is like when it comes to comic books, like I couldn't describe what the art is that I like, because I don't like it too cartoony, but I also don't like it too like edgy Batman, like we're being super like crazy, like I don't know, overly detailed, if that's possible.
Right.
But this is it. This is the happy medium I love, and it's I think the story is really interesting. I think there's no fluff to it, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely not. You got 2 issues, baby.
And I think the character designs are great. I think the actual characters in it are very cool. I'm at a loss for words, honestly. It's by far the story that I'm the most interested in.
Yeah, there is a little bit of bias because you're definitely
Big time, huge bias.
Yeah.
I realize that. I'm like I kind of wish I could go into this with like no bias, but I couldn't. I was like, I'm probably gonna like this either way. But like I feel like I tried to step away from the bias. I'm like, no. I'm like, this is still a pretty interesting story.
Yes, it is definitely still really interesting. And like I looked up because again, I don't think we need to do a play-by-play of this book. It's kind of just like Teen Titans in the dystopia, and they're trying to fix it, sort of.
Yeah, you don't know too much. It's a little. They leave out a decent amount of information.
Yeah, it ties in from what I've heard with the Flash book, which is apparently also pee pee poo poo. So I guess rip on that front. But there's something about the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse or whatever, and that came out of the Flash book or something like that. And they're connected to that a little bit. And so like at the end of this book, the thing that everyone really cares about, Red X, where it's revealed Dick Grayson was Red X for a time being, but it's not really like, how did you describe it? It was like a phase that he went through to.
So if this is, are you talking about what he explained in the book or what happened in Teen Titans the
Yeah,
show?
what he explained in the book, not the show, not the
In
show,
the
the book.
Oh, in the book. Okay.
Yeah, in the book.
In the book, let me actually find the exact thing. He said it where it was like yes, this was a phase I was going through or something, or like I was doing it because I felt we weren't like the team wasn't making progress almost.
Yeah,
Um,
which it's vague enough that it could very well be whatever happened in the show because he did it to get close to Slade and all that sort of stuff. And that would still make sense perfectly fine here. And I like that because it's just sort of like it's retconning in something, but it's not. It's keeping it vague enough so that people can do things with it in the future if they want to do their own sort of thing. But it could also be the thing you remember from the show. So it's number it could be seen as kind of a cop out, but I kind of like the vagueness of it. So it could be really anything you want it to be.
yeah, I like the vagueness of this whole book. Of I think they do a very good job of balancing, of giving you enough information, but hiding enough so that you're still interested. Um, Especially with this whole, what we just talked about of why he was Red X. Okay, does it follow along the same idea of what they did in the show? Is it a little different? You don't really know. I'm leaning towards that it's pretty similar to what happened in the show. Um, but I like this little flashback to somebody stealing, I guess, one of the students. Um, one of it was another Teen Titan stealing the Red X costume, and
Yeah, yeah,
you don't
yeah.
know who it is, and it looks like he's defending another student who's in this weird cocoon, and it just seems like a lot of confusion has happened or is going on, and eventually it ends up with two of the students dying,
Yeah,
and
the friggin' Wonder Twins or whoever.
yeah, and it's got me interested. I'm like, okay, there's some, okay, that's some good backstory, but also like I'm really interested. I'm like, okay, what actually happened here? It's kind of hard to get an idea of what was going on. Um, but for me, I loved. I'm biased towards Raven, but oh my god, I love the way she looks. I love how, um, I guess her. I guess it would be considered a cloak, right?
Yeah, her cloak.
I love how it looks feathered.
Yeah, that's something that's been around in the comics for a while. But seeing Sandoval draw it, oh my god, it's just the coolest thing in the world. Along with that goddamn Hydra, holy shit.
Holy crap, that Hydra looks amazing.
Yeah, out of the four books we're discussing this week, the art in this book is by far and away it blows everything else out of the water. This art is great.
Oh yeah, art is just looking at it. I love the way it looks. I love the character designs. And I wanted to ask you, when Raven is talking to this shadowed person in the cage, I believe
Right.
it's the same that's supposed to be Red X, or the person
That's the
who,
guy, yeah, who picked up the Red X mantle in the flashback and was defending the person in the ball of energy. Um, who I think the person in the ball of energy is meant to be like a Flash. It looks like it because you can see like in the contour of his head,
hmm
yeah, the little like
I
wing
saw that
things
as
that would be
well.
coming out. Yeah, so I think it's that because then I also think it again. I've heard this ties in with the Flash book, so I'm assuming that's what it is. Um, and everyone, dude, I've been looking up who could possibly be the new Red X. There are a couple different theories as to who it could be, but no one's really sure. And I like that because no one really knows who it is.
I bet you
Um,
we don't even find out. Because that was the big thing in the show. The fact that, oh, the big reveal was, oh, whatever, Robin was Red X. But then when somebody steals the Red X costume and starts doing it on their own, you never really find out who that person was. And I remember, I think they're in Teen Titans Go, they actually reference it and they make a joke about it. I forget the exact details. And that's it. And that's the big thing about Red X is that he's just I love the character design. I think he looks amazing. And just this mystery behind him and the idea of Robin kind of becoming a bad guy to protect his friends. I love it. It's so unique, and I just as soon as finished reading this, I read it again. I read it twice because I loved it so much.
It was pretty good. I haven't read it twice, but I've skimmed over each of the parts. So I've read it 2 or 3 times because I just keep looking back at the art and I'm just like, this is cool. Or I try and like, I'm trying to see like Easter eggs or details that might lead like clues as to who it could be behind the Red X mask. And I love the detail that Dick Grayson's Nightwing suit is now like half like he wears a Deathstroke mask, and the color scheme of his suit is very much Deathstroke stuff, and you're just sort of like, I want to know what happened to Dick Grayson and why he's like this, because then it's also like the Nightwing book and what he's like in that, because he's very clearly on like a precipice. But it also seems like in this book when he's talking with Starfire that something happened that kind of like tipped him over the edge and like made everyone mad at him. And I'm curious if it's the same thing or if it's two different things and they're just not really connected that well. Time will tell, or it won't, and this will just be a question forever unanswered. But I'm intrigued by that. I want to see what's happening with Nightwing, and I think the Nightwing book and the Teen Titan book, the fact that they're both so strong, it gives me a lot of hope for what we can expect from him in the future state stuff.
Yeah, I that last page, man. I it's gorgeous.
It's so good.
Absolutely gorgeous. Just the fact of Red X looks amazing. He's still pulling on the mask and you can see the tension. His eyes just look evil. And yeah, Dick's get up is oh my god. When I saw the Deathstroke mask, I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Where the hell did that come from?"
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I don't know what happened to Deathstroke in the future state stuff. I don't know, but I am curious. I don't know if we'll ever find out, but it's just cool.
Yeah, I loved it. It lived up to my expectations. Oh, the other thing I was gonna say is the whole Psy Beast thing is wild, and I actually really like it.
Yeah, I
But it's
don't
also
know.
weird.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know. I feel like it would be cool to explore, but I feel like like I feel like the Red X and Nightwing stuff would be the first 5 to 6 issues of the run, and that would be your first introductory arc, and then you would tackle another character like Psy Beast and see kind of what happened to them in like issue 7 through 12 or 13 or whatever the hell you'd be doing there. Um, so I'm intrigued by Psy Beast, but I don't care about it more than everything else that we've just talked about. So it's like a nice little side piece, kind of
I agree.
right in the
I
side there.
definitely agree.
Yeah. So 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 12 out of 9. What do you think for this?
X out of
As
X.
biased as you want.
X out of X.
And there it is. Is that just the letter X? Is that a Roman numeral? You'll never know because I'm not going to tell you. All right, so that is all of the future state books
I
for
need
this
your
week.
opinion, Joe.
Oh, right. Let's see. I'm going to give it 3 red X's out of 3 because I also really liked it a lot. It's not perfect, but it is something that I am genuinely intrigued by, and I really, really, I just love the art is so good. The art is so good. Story's solid enough. I'm just very intrigued by it. I'm ready. I'm ready for the rest. Okay. Anything else? Are we good? You good?
Next week we have coming out on the docket comics that are Dark Detective #2,
Ooh yeah.
Batman Black and White #2,
Ooh yeah.
and a special retro comic conversation, even though it's not really retro. Joe, you want to tell them what it is?
Oh, I forgot that we were going to be doing this entirely. I kind of it slipped my mind a little bit. But that's fine because I'm so excited for this. We're going to be discussing Spider-Man Life Story, baby, which is a comic. I'm not going to elaborate because that will give my cards away, but it's not hard to tell what I think about the book. All right. A lot of good stuff to look forward to next week. That's probably going to be a pretty long episode because that's life stories. Oh boy, we need to talk about that one. Yeah. So, as always, leave a like on the video or a dislike on the video. I don't care. You don't have to do what I tell you to. Except right now, do a like. Do a like. Comment whatever you comment. Comment what you think about the future books. Comment which one of us you think looks better. And subscribe. You should probably also subscribe too. Too many strokes in each episode, Joe. Just subscribe. Okay, that's enough. Just cut me off before it's too late, Joe. Cut me off. Cut me off.